One of the first things that I tell my clients when building a custom home is that the best way to control your budget is to control the size of the house. The second best way to control your budget is to design a house that is simple and easy to construct with a regular shape and consistent framing details. Selecting less expensive materials does help in controlling your cost, but not as much as you think. And sometimes in some places, it's okay to splurge. But people often believe that building a bigger home with more square footage is better. I don't know, maybe they see it as some sort of status symbol, or maybe they've just compartmentalized their thinking so much that they feel that every activity needs its own space. But what's not always understood is that good design can help a smaller space feel larger. One of the best resources available for learning to build smaller and to shift your mindset from that bigger is better mentality is the seminal book by Sarah Susanka, The Not So Big House. Sarah is an architect and she's an author, and her message is that quality should always come before quantity. And she outlines a series of strategies in her book for us to focus on that can begin to reduce the overall size of a home in favor of a home that is based upon your daily life. Consider the rooms in your house that you use and that you enjoy the most versus the rooms that may only get used a few times per year. And you'll have a sense of the essential principles of the not so big house. So if you're a homeowner considering building a new home or renovating your current home or expanding your current home, then reading this book is a great place to start. It will get you into that right mindset to begin thinking about your home and your life differently. And you can use this book as sort of a gut check on the size of the spaces that you really need and that you'll really use. So the book dives into many topics, but the key points include a rejection of the bigger is better attitude, a focus on quality over quantity. One of the most important points is that all the square feet in your house should get used every day, and that you should eliminate the spaces that only get used a few times per year. Eliminating the rooms that you don't use often in favor of making the spaces that you use every day better will allow you to allocate more of your budget to those spaces that you truly use and that you truly enjoy, and will allow you to focus the design on the way that your family actually lives rather than some antiquated set of standards on you have to have so many rooms. Now, just to be clear, this is not a book about tiny houses or small ADUs, and the examples presented in the book are actually quite large for most people. I mean, we're talking 3,000 square feet plus or minus, but the point is, how can you make 3,000 square feet perform better than 5,000 square feet? And you also have to keep in mind that what is right for you is not what is right for the next person or a person that's living halfway around the country. Every person, every family has their own unique set of needs, their own unique challenges, and their own unique goals. Shifting away from the square foot mindset and shifting towards, I need these spaces in order for my family to function and perform and be happy, rather than we're just gonna build as big as we possibly can. That's sort of the goal of the book. And this book is also not about frugal design or design on a budget. I mean, you're not going to really take the examples from this home and be able to save money on your construction cost, except for the fact that building a smaller house is the best way to control the budget. And the pictures in the book are a bit out of date in terms of the finishing and the style and the trim work. But you know what? The ideas that are presented in the book hold true. Now, one thing that I don't necessarily agree with is Susanka's overuse of bump outs and niches. These can be effective design tools, but when considering the building envelope and energy efficiency, these spaces that bump out are often much more difficult to air seal, insulate, and they will they will often add cost to the construction budget. So use bump outs and use niches strategically. Don't just throw them everywhere in hopes of making a small space feel larger, because you may end up sacrificing the building performance and your own comfort in those spaces. Some of the other strategies that she discusses, and these are all things that I use in my designs, are light to walk towards. Now that means humans are drawn towards light and programmed to walk towards light. So if you have at the end of a hallway or the end of a space that is lit up either naturally or artificially, you're going to be naturally drawn to that space. Ceiling height variety. This is a big one. Some spaces should have a lower, more intimate ceiling, while others should have a taller ceiling height. But if you have the same uniform, consistent ceiling height throughout all of your rooms and all of your spaces, it's not going to feel as comfortable. And this goes for the big open volumes, your sort of open kitchen, living, dining room areas that have been popular over the last 15, 20 years. If you have some variety in the ceiling height in those big volumes, you can actually make that space feel much more comfortable. Window positioning is another thing that she talks about a lot. A window just plunked in the middle of a wall will actually create dark spots on the sides and in the corners. But a window that's strategically placed next to a perpendicular wall has the ability to bounce light into the room. And I always say that windows should never just be plunked in everywhere. That's what we call punched openings. It's better to design the orientation and the size and the location of your windows based upon the form and the mass of the overall house from the exterior and the interior space and qualities that you're looking to achieve. Double duty spaces. Not every activity needs its own room. This goes without saying. If you have every single activity that your family does having its own space, then your house is going to balloon up to a gigantic size. Of course, there's the blending of the inside and the outside, which, in my opinion, this has become an overused term, especially in real estate or those home design shows that you see on TV. It's a buzzword used to make something sound better than what it actually is. And just because you have large windows or added a few extra windows doesn't mean that you're blurring the boundaries between interior and exterior. That's a cop-out, and you're not achieving what you actually think that you achieve. But when done correctly, when you can actually integrate the interior and the exterior, you do have the ability to expand the living space, and you do have the ability to expand that connection. So when you do it right, there's the possibility of increasing the quality of your life and your enjoyment of the spaces. Susanka will say, better rather than bigger and quality over quantity, and I 100% agree. These are important messages, and this book, I think this book has something that every homeowner can benefit from reading. So I've included a link down below where you can purchase it from Amazon, and in the comments, tell me how you like it. Thanks.